In the world of GTA, there are dumb vehicles and there are smart vehicles. The smart vehicles are the good buys. The dumb vehicles are the ones you wasted your money on. A lot of us are collectors in GTA, and I'm sure some of you are as well, and you want to have everything you can to complete your collection, but sometimes you feel like you just got a little bit of buyer's remorse. Welcome to Grand Theft Central. My name is Chaos. Today we're going to be looking at some of the worst vehicles you actually probably wasted your money on. Let me know if any of these took your cash, and let's start off with the Gallivanter Baller. The SUV that looks nice and has a respectable price tag, but really isn't any better than cheaper alternatives. Based on the L322 Range Rover Vogue, the Gallivanter Baller will set you back a little less than $100,000, assuming you don't buy any upgrades, and it will fit 4 people. Now it has average acceleration, not a very good top speed, underwhelming turning, and an awful weight distribution. There's a handful of variants that fix some of the issues, but overall, the Baller just isn't going to do anything better than a cheaper SUV despite being noticeably more expensive. Don't be fooled by the appealing look or the cool name. Just pass on it. Move on. Next up, the Vapid FMJ. Now, the dictionary defines Vapid as offering nothing that is stimulating or challenging. So with that in mind, I think it's a perfect name for this. Now, the FMJ isn't a flat-out bad car, but it's underwhelming when you look at the price tag. It's based on the real-world 2017 Ford GT, and it's going to cost you $2 million. Now, the handling and speeds are good, but it has some horrible acceleration, and it's rather common for it to spin out due to its bizarre weight distribution. Like I said, it's not a flat-out bad car, but it has some pretty big downsides that you probably wouldn't expect when you're paying $2 million. For that kind of money, you can do way better. At number 8 today, the Emperor ETR1. Now, for what you're getting in this car, it's a ripoff. It's based on the Lexus LF LC Vision Gran Turismo, which is a beautiful car and a long title. Now, obviously, the ETR1 looks very nice. It has some sweet sounds attached to it, but when you actually start driving it, there's issues. There's just really nothing spectacular about it, despite it having a ridiculous price tag of almost $2 million. If you've got the money to go around, I guess it could make for a nice joyride, I guess, and even an occasional race. But if you're actually going for wins and performance, you can do way better for way less money. It's way too expensive for the product you're getting. Next up is the Ocelot Lynx, another car that's not flat out bad, but it's way too expensive, and a lot of people in the community have talked about it. The Lynx is a 2-door sports car based on the real-world Jaguar F-Type, which is one of my favorite cars, and it's going to cost you about $1.7 million at Legendary Motorsports, so you can expect some really good stats, right? No, wrong. The steering is unhelpful in races. It will often lose traction during turns. It's a decent car, but in terms of handling, it is vastly outclassed by significantly cheaper options. So, unless you really love the design, pass on it. Next one to pass on, the JB700. Now, this car looks awesome. It makes the James Bond fan and me very happy. But it gets a spot today because of the lack of features despite having a giant price tag. It's based on the Aston Martin DB5, the same car that James Bond drove in the classic movies. And when you drive in the GTA 5 campaign, you get access to some awesome weapons and gadgets built into the car. The GTA Online? Legendary Motorsports has it for $350,000, but with none of the cool gadgets or weapons. You're left with a car itself which isn't really good to drive. It may be durable and fast, but it tends to oversteer and its acceleration is nothing to write home about. Does it look awesome? Absolutely. Is it underwhelming? Yes. At number 5, the Benefactor XLS. Now, this is a luxury SUV and it looks nice and it's based on a rather really nice world car, but it's probably not the kind of thing you want to spend your money on. It's based on the Mercedes-Benz GL. It's going to set you back $250,000 at Legendary Motorsport. It can only carry 4 people despite obviously having more than 4 seats, and it also doesn't have impressive stats to write home about. It's got heavy weight, large size, body rolls are going to happen, top speed is underwhelming. It's nice for luxury and cruising, but if you're trying to go for a good car for mission and heists, nah. Next up, the Lampadati Viceris. Based on the real-world De Tomaso Pantera GT5, this is another one of those cars that looks amazing, sounds awesome, but it's not good for street use. It has noticeably below average stats for its class, poor traction, constant spinning, mediocre top speed, average acceleration. When you upgrade it, it's a decent sports car. But even then, you've spent all your money, you've probably dropped $900,000 or more. It's not good. It's luxury, it's just not utilitarian. At number 3, the MTL Dune. Now, if you like off-roading, you probably have mixed feelings. It was added to the game as part of the Cunning Stunts update and will set you back $1.3 million. Now, the Dune is based on the real-world MAN TGS 480, and it's good at off-roading, but it's also notoriously prone to tipping over. It's very heavy and very big, and it has a raised suspension. When you mix all those things together, you got a car that tips over. You'll be driving down the road and then ever so slightly hit the curb and boom, you're on the ground. 1.3 million? Not worth it. Next up, one more MTL, the Brigade. Now, this goofy thing is another gigantic car that, yes, has better handling than the Dune, but also has a whole laundry list of downsides. It's an armored truck available at Warstock Cash and carry for a clean $1.1 million. And looking at it, you would think you could just take a whole army of buddies. You know, yes and no. Only a couple people can actually sit in the car at once, while up to 6 people can be hanging from the sides, which sounds cool, but when you quickly remember this means your passengers have no cover at all and can get shot rather easily, it's not cool anymore. What's the point of a giant armored truck that protects you? Protects less than a normal car if they're on the outside. I just don't get it. And at number 1, the Bravado Rumpo Custom. Cool name. A getaway van that barely works as a getaway van, though. Added to the GTI Online as part of the Further Adventures in Finance and Felony update. And if you've seen the A-Team, you get the vibe. Based on the Sports Mobile Classic 4x4, and it's available for $130,000 at Southern San Andreas Super Auto, so it's cheap, but you need a lot of money to upgrade it. And even when you pimp it out, it's not going to handle very well. The suspension is your worst enemy, as the whole car will turn over while performing basic turns or braking, which that's not a good getaway van. It doesn't have top speed, it doesn't have acceleration. Once again, not a good getaway van. It looks cool, it's classic, it's got nostalgic vibes, but other than that, it's crap. And there you have it. Those are some of the dumbest vehicles you could waste your money on in GTA. Let me know if you've bought any of these, and I'll see you soon.